I used to believe that lies were the most dangerous things in a marriage. I was wrong. Lies can be challenged. Lies leave fingerprints. Lies eventually collapse under their own weight. What almost destroyed me was something quieter, something far more polite. My wife didn't lie. She withheld. For years, I mistook that silence for honesty. I thought transparency meant not being actively deceived. I thought trust was safe as long as no one said something untrue. I didn't understand then that truth can be buried without ever being denied. My wife, Lena, was admired by everyone who met her. She spoke carefully. She listened more than she talked. People called her thoughtful, composed, emotionally mature. I repeated those words myself, especially when friends teased me for being more open than she was. That's just how she is, I'd say. She's private. Private felt respectable, mature, safe. When we first met, her restraint felt grounding. I was expressive, impulsive, sometimes too eager to explain myself. Lena balanced me. She never overshared. She never vented. She never raised her voice. When conflict appeared, she didn't escalate. She paused. She waited. She chose her words like they were delicate objects. I mistook that caution for care. In the early years of our marriage, nothing seemed wrong. We built routines that worked. Shared meals. Shared jokes. Shared plans. If there were thoughts she didn't voice, I assumed they were small, unimportant, not worth disturbing the peace over. After all, she never lied when I asked direct questions. That became my reassurance. Are you happy? I'd ask. Yes, she'd say. Is something bothering you? No. Did I do something wrong? No. All true in the narrowest sense. But truth, I learned too late, can be edited. The first crack appeared in a moment so ordinary, I almost dismissed it. We were at a dinner with friends, laughing about old stories. Someone asked Lena how she felt about moving cities for my job years earlier. She smiled and said, "It was fine. It made sense at the time." Her tone was neutral, acceptable, final, but something about it lingered. Not what she said, but what she didn't. No emotion, no memory, no reflection, just closure. That night, I asked her about it. She shrugged. It wasn't a big deal. I believed her. I wanted to. Over time, these moments multiplied. Small pauses. Soft deflections. Conversations that ended before they truly began. If I pressed, she grew tired. Not angry. Just distant. Like someone politely stepping back from a door they didn't want opened. "I don't want to overanalyze things," she'd say. And I, desperate to be the understanding husband, let it go. The withholding wasn't dramatic. There were no shocking revelations, no secret phones, no obvious betrayals. It was more like living in a house where certain rooms were always locked, and eventually you stop noticing the doors. Until one day you do. The realization didn't come during a fight. It came during a quiet afternoon. I was cleaning out old emails looking for a document when I found a draft she had written years ago and never sent. It wasn't addressed to anyone specific. Just a page of thoughts. She wrote about loneliness, about feeling unseen, about making sacrifices she never spoke about because she didn't want to seem ungrateful. She wrote about resenting me for not noticing things she never told me. I read it 3 times, my hands shaking. None of it contradicted what she had ever said to my face. That was the worst part. Every sentence existed in the space between her words. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She didn't apologize either. She looked tired, like someone who had been carrying a heavy bag for too long. "I didn't lie," she said quietly. She was right. She explained it calmly, as if she'd rehearsed it in her head many times. She believed withholding was kindness, that sharing dissatisfaction would only create problems, that her role was to adapt, to absorb, to stay steady. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said, "and I didn't want to seem difficult." Asked her why she never trusted me with the full truth. She hesitated. That pause said more than any confession. "I wasn't sure you'd know what to do with it," she finally said. That sentence cut deeper than anger ever could. because it revealed the real damage of withholding. It doesn't just hide feelings. It reshapes power. It turns one partner into the decision-maker and the other into an observer of their own life. She had decided, quietly and alone, which parts of herself I was allowed to know. In the weeks that followed, everything felt unstable. Not because we were fighting, but because the foundation I thought we shared was incomplete. I realized how many moments I had misread. How many compromises she made without telling me. How many choices I made without understanding their full cost. She had been honest with facts, but not with impact. There's a particular kind of grief that comes from realizing your marriage was real, but not whole. That the love existed, but only in the shape one person allowed. We tried counseling. We tried relearning how to speak. For the first time, Lena struggled to explain herself out loud. Words didn't come easily when she couldn't edit them in advance. She cried in sessions, frustrated by how vulnerable truth felt when it wasn't filtered. I listened, and for the first time, I understood how withholding had shaped her too. Silence had been her armor. Honesty, unguarded honesty, felt like standing unprotected. But understanding didn't erase the damage. Trust isn't just about believing what someone says. It's about believing that what they don't say isn't being strategically hidden. I began to notice how often she still paused. How often she chose the softer answer. How instinctively she avoided discomfort, even now. And I noticed something else too. How I had learned to stop asking certain questions. How I had adapted to her silence by shrinking my curiosity. Withholding is contagious. In the end, there was no villain. No explosive ending. Just a quiet reckoning. We both had to admit that love built on partial truth eventually collapses under its own weight. We separated not because she lied, but because we no longer knew how to be fully known by each other. The last thing she said to me still echoes in my mind. I thought protecting us meant protecting you from my doubts. I told her something I wish I had said years earlier. Protection without permission is just control wearing kindness. Now, when people ask what went wrong, I don't say she betrayed me. I say something harder to explain. She told the truth. She just never told all of it. And I've learned that love doesn't fail in the moments where lies are spoken loudly. It fails in the quiet spaces where honesty is edited, trimmed, and carefully withheld, until there's nothing left to hold on to.